Now, deep blue is quite the enormous great white. Actually, probably the biggest great white that's ever been videoed and photographed before. And not only that, measured to a decent scale from the Discovery Channel, using a cardboard cutout of another great white and trying to get the shark in frame with their measurement tool. So, deep blue comes in at a whopping a little over 20 feet long. That is a really big fish. The other thing that's amazing about her is she's probably about 50 years old and she's pregnant in these videos because of her enormous girth that you see. But if deep blue is so large, then what is this? Let's get one thing clear here. Let's back up a bit. Big fishing stories is nothing new. It's been around for hundreds of years. Exaggerated stories, and they go on even today even though we have iPhones and Photoshop and shit like that. There's also been plenty of large great whites that were caught or photographed or described throughout history. El Monstro is one of the biggest. Though this shark in the photo, I miscalculated some things, such as the weight and the length of the shark. The length of the shark they claim to be about 24 foot. In reality, I'm looking at this, and with all the people in the background, I'd say it's around maybe 16 to 17 feet long, which is still a very large animal, but nowhere near as big as what they'd like to say it was. Also, the weight was heavily exaggerated. They said this thing weighed 7,000 pounds. That is almost 5 tons. I don't think this thing weighs 7,000 pounds. It looks more like, definitely a large fish like this would be around 3,500, 4,000 pounds at most. Minimum, probably 3,000. Still a very enormous creature, and the photograph is very grainy. It would take someone to really restore it so we could get maybe a more accurate estimate out of this. Still, nonetheless, a very large great white. This is another large great white specimen that was caught in Australia at 5,085 pounds, accurately weighed and measured from tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, 20 foot 8 inches. Very large fish here. Very large fish. Another great example of a giant specimen. And here we are at a black screen because we're going to talk about unseen giants. Unseen giants are basically word-of-mouth claims of how large some fish that were spotted are. We're actually going to talk about one of the most famous, largest specimens ever captured. But unfortunately, there are no pictures of this because of the time period that this took place. This was caught off of Port Fairy in Australia. A large shark, a 36.5 foot great white, was caught off of Port Fairy. 36 feet. That is larger than the average size for an orca whale. That is a massive great white shark. 36 foot. But the only problem is there are no photos of this. I found old news articles about this shark, but there are no photos taken from that time period of this animal. We all wish there were, because that is something that is the stuff of legends right there. Let's get back to our fish that we got here, though. Like any person who has either dabbled in Photoshop or is skeptical of big fish tails, I, of course, took this photo from my friend, put it into Photoshop, zoomed in about 5,000%, and checked to see if this thing was Photoshopped or possibly edited in any way. And sure enough, to my surprise, there was nothing. There was nothing there. No halos, no missing pixels, no freaking indication of blending. This is a real fucking photograph, and I was blown away by that. The other thing is, it's a really good photograph because instead of just having the shark alone, we have the boat within the same shot. That gives you a sense of scale. Now, when looking up this boat's model, I found out that it's 33 foot, just like my buddy said. It's 33 foot on the dot, and you can get a measurement using usually the measurement of pixels in Photoshop. From the tip of the boat to the stern, if you want to count the motor, that's an extra like 2 feet at most. But I'm talking about just the boat in general. So it's 33 feet from the tip of the boat to the stern of the boat, not counting the motor. The shark, on the other hand, is a bit more difficult to get a measurement out of, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the shark's in motion. Its body is not exactly completely straight, so you can't get, like, right off the bat a tip of the nose to the tip of the tail measurement. Instead, you gotta estimate. So, from the tip of the nose to the point where the tail just starts to curve, that's your first measurement. And then from where the tail starts to curve all the way to the tail's tip, that's your second measurement, and you have to put it all together. So the boat itself measures 750 pixels. We're using pixel terminology here. Trying to get feet out of Photoshop, we'd be here fucking forever. But we could find out the difference between the shark and the boat itself using the pixel measurement. So 750 for the boat. For the shark, after combining both estimates of the nose tip to when the tail starts turning to when the tail starts turning towards the tail tip, I'm looking at 722 pixels, which is only a 27 amount difference from the boat's length. Now, 27, let's think about that number for a second. The boat is 33 feet. 27 feet is about 82% of a 33-foot boat. So 27 feet is I'm gonna guess the rounded estimate of how large this shark is. It could be 26 point something feet. Or it could even be 27 point something or 28. I have no idea. Because you know what? When you look at pictures on a down angle like this, sometimes things look larger than what they actually are. Considering the shark is only a foot underwater, this thing's right at the surface looking for the freaking chum bucket. That's what happened. The thing ripped off the fucking chum bucket and swam away with it after they took this photo. So they got to really see this massive animal up close and personal. I just wish they had the drone out at that time. So no, not a Photoshop picture of a great white. This is a real photo of a very large great white specimen. And I would fucking kill to see this shark again in person. I think the Discovery Channel would like to tag this fucking thing. That's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.